everyone, and welcome to another episode of Crush That Exam. My name is Dr. Erica Liggins, licensed clinical psychologist and founder and CEO of the Crush That Exam program. I am so excited to be here with yet another story of triumph over the EPPP, and we're excited to share their story. Can you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I am Dr. Priscilla Mendez. A little bit about me. So I graduated in 2019 from Wheaton College out in Illinois. And a lot of my work throughout grad school and even up to now has been working with children, adolescents, and families from marginalized communities, particularly the Latino community. And in 2021, I completed a postdoc in trauma mental health, which brings me to where I'm at now. So I'm currently in Houston, Texas. I work at the Trauma and Grief Center. Uh, So very much a very specialized clinic and center where we serve youth and families who have histories of trauma and or loss. Part of what I do at the Trauma and Grief Center, we also do a lot of trainings and professional education out in different organizations, schools, academic medical center, on topics related on childhood trauma and bereavement, particularly with a focus on immigrant youth and families. So yeah, there's like an aspect of that, the clinical work, but I also get to do a lot of work out in the community, which I really enjoy. So that's a little bit about me.
That is absolutely amazing. And also, I just want to put it out there that it feels so full circle to see you out here just doing this amazing clinical work because way back in the day, feels like a million years ago, I was one of your supervisors when you were an
Yes.
extern here in Illinois.
Yeah.
And I saw you at the very beginning of this journey, learning how to be a clinician. And you were a star back then, and you still are a
Mm,
star now. So it's really fun to see everything come full circle. So
yeah.
tell us,
Mm.
what was your EPPP experience like before you started working with me?
Yes. And yeah, I just want to acknowledge that it is very special to be here and to have worked with you. And just, yeah, we definitely go way back. This is very, very special to be here with you, Eric. So yeah, let's talk about life before Dr. Erica and her coaching services.
Yes. Oh,
Um,
because let me mention one quick thing. So
yeah.
obviously, I trained her as an extern and then she went on, continued other years of training and internship and all the things. And so we didn't see each other or talk to each other or anything for some years,
Yeah.
right? So you
Yeah.
started your EPPP journey without my involvement. So I just wanted
Correct.
to fill in that
Correct.
context. So you go ahead.
Yes. Yeah. 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 Thanks for clarifying that. So yeah. So I um started studying for the EPPP while I was in fellowship. So this was during the COVID times. It was also fellowship. There's lots going on. And then here I was, trying to take this exam. So what I did the first time that I took this exam, I purchased, the study material. And I was just studying for this test like I did for any other test, really. Little did I know this test was just a little bit different. And there were so many other things that went into it. As we all know, this test, there's a lot of information. Like there's so many sections, so many topics. So I remember the first time that I was studying, I dedicated like a week for like a section. So I remember I started studying. So obviously by the time I'm like on week 8, right, of studying, everything I studied in week 1 and 2 was clearly out the window. Because I just, as I've learned through your coaching, is we need to learn how to be studying all of the different topics at the same time. And there's a way that you can do that. But I just didn't know how to do that or that I had to do that. So obviously, by the time I went into the test, I didn't do well. There was definitely information that I felt more comfortable than other, but I was definitely not prepared. And the first time that I studied, I think I focused a lot more on the content that I didn't really practice taking exams. So that wasn't really a thing that I worried about. But again, part of what I've learned through you is that that is a big piece to all of this. So I did some of that and then, attempted to take it again. I remember that this time around, I focused a lot more on just taking a bunch of practice exams. That's pretty much how I studied, which obviously not helpful. So I focused less on the content. And I just remember like every weekend early on, it was just like practice exam, practice exam. During the week, it was like a bunch of quizzes, but I wasn't really spending time on really knowing the content of the material. Again, not helpful. And I think by the time you have, when you have failed this exam, whether it's once, twice, however many times, the anxiety starts to build up. So I think, before I came to you, Erica, there was a lot of anxiety that was just building up inside of me. There was a lot of unhelpful ways of thinking about this exam that obviously I was carrying into the next time I was going to study. So, by the time I got to you, there was a lot of anxiety. There was a lot of me finding my identity in the fact that I had failed this exam and just clearly unhelpful ways of thinking that were just not being productive. And it was just not helping me to really succeed in passing this exam. So I'm sort of setting the stage of where was Priscilla before she came to you. So
Yeah.
that's where I was at. Yeah.
And again, having known you before, remembering you as this bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, amazing clinician, this budding, clinician on their way, and seeing you some years later kind of broken down by this test. That was
Yeah.
hard to see because I just always thought so highly of you. So it hurts my heart to
Yeah.
see highly capable, amazing clinicians having their confidence beaten down by this experience. So, how can you fill people in on how you came to find my coaching services? Because again, you didn't know I was doing this. We have completely
I didn't.
lost touch with each
Yeah.
other. Mhm.
Yeah. Yes. That was such an answer to prayer, honestly. I remember I had failed the exam again, and I was just like, I need help. Like, I can't do this alone. Like, I clearly need help. So I just honestly got on Google, did a Google search, like EPPP tutoring, coaching. And before I got to your page, I just remember coming across other, coaches and tutors out there. And I just remember feeling really overwhelmed when I looked at the price. I was like, yeah, I do not have the money for that. I'm like, this is insane.
Mhm.
And to the point where I was like, forget it. Like, I honestly was like, I'm going to stop looking and I'm just going to try to do this alone all over again. And again, in answer to prayer, all of a sudden I see your face and I'm like, wait, that's Dr. Erica. Wait, what is this? So then I come across your website and I realize that you are a coach for the Triple P. I start to read the testimonials, like people are passing this exam, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I know her. And there was something so comforting about seeing a familiar face that I was like, oh
Oh,
my gosh, like that was again an answer to prayer. So I just remember I reached out to you and I was like, Dr. Erica, like, I don't know if you remember me from back in the day. And we set up that intake, that first appointment, and never looked back. So that's how I found you. And, I think one of the things that was very appealing was obviously the prices of your packages and all of that. Like, that was huge. At the time, I was wrapping up with fellowship, I was starting my first job. I didn't have the money for
mhm.
that. So it was really comforting and just gave me a lot of hope knowing that I was going to be, you know, having you as my coach, but then also knowing that this was affordable. So that was huge.
Yeah, so it was kind of easy for you to choose me for multiple reasons, and
Multiple.
obviously the previous relationship certainly helped, right?
Yes. Yes. Helped
Made
a
you feel
lot.
more
Yeah.
comfortable. So then once you got into the program, right, and you're like, just
Yeah.
we're developing a new professional relationship that's slightly
Yes.
different than before. What were the top three things that you found most helpful about the program altogether, which includes the meetings, the audio
Yeah.
program? You also came to the monthly sip and chat events for support and encouragement. So what stood out to you?
Man, it's hard, honestly, to say three because there's a lot of things that you offer that just are really helpful, but I will narrow it down. I mean, I think first and foremost, just having this space, Erica, I think you, your ability to meet me where I was at every single time was huge. Your support, your encouragement. You and I actually connected for the coaching in 2022.
Hmm.
So we connected then, and I attempted to take the test in 2023 of that summer. Obviously, there were a lot of factors that played into me not passing that time, which allowed for us to keep working together. But all that to say, we met in 2022. I remember there was a time where I told you, Erica, like, I need to take a break from this. Like, I will reach back out and we will try again. And you very much respected that. There was a lot of life things happening.
Hmm.
So I really appreciated the fact that you really met me where I was at. Again, your support, your encouragement, and just having this space and just having someone else believing in me was huge. Because I was just at a point where I was just like, I really don't know if I can even pass this thing. Like, I don't even know if it's worth it. Like, so many
Mm.
things going through my head. So that I just want to highlight that was huge because this is such an isolating process when you do not have something like this, that made such a huge difference for me. So I would say that's number one. um Number two, I do well when people tell me what to do. Like, this is what you need to do to get there. Like, this is A, B, and C. Just do this and you will get there. And you have that. Like, you have such a clear study plan and there's so much structure that I just thrived in that. This was a race that I had done several times. Clearly, I was not getting to the finish line. And then here you come in and you're like, okay, we're going to take a different path. And we did. And it was super helpful. It was different. I think at times I was like, well, this is not typically how I run, right? How I study. But it was clearly, the way your program is set up just really sets you up for success. So
Mhm.
I think having that structure, having that clear study plan, um, got me there. Clearly, here we are. So I'm really thankful for that because I think that's what I needed. I needed that, that plan, that structure. So really thankful for that. So I will say that's number two. Number three, I am really grateful and really thankful for the community that you have created through this coaching, the coaching service that you provide. And I think from the sip and chat, I remember I attended a couple of them, and it was so awesome to just be able to hear people that were now on the other side. Like, it motivated me, it inspired me. There was definitely a lot of people that came and gave their story, each will be story and journey that I really resonated with. And that was awesome. Like, I remember I would just like end the sip and chats and I was like, okay, I can do this. Like, clearly there's people that have been able to do this. Like, I can do this too. So that was really inspiring and that helped me a lot. And I will also add that the online community
Oh yeah,
that
I didn't
feels like
even mention that. I forgot.
yeah, that's huge. Like, the online community is honestly, Erica, is sort of like my EPPP Facebook. That honestly, I kid you not, it's actually funny. While I was studying, I gave up social media. So I was like really disconnected. But the online platform and community was like my social media and my Facebook. And being able to get on there and just see what people were posting, the motivation for the week. And I I've never met any of these other coaches, but I felt so inspired by them. And honestly, it motivated me to just keep going like week after week. So there was something about that. Again, even though I've never met anyone, I just felt very encouraged and I didn't feel alone in this journey. It's like, okay, like, we're all out here trying to pass this exam, like, I'm not the only one. So I would say those are the top three. I mean, obviously, there's so many other things that I can maybe talk about, but I would say those are the top three for sure.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, I love the community part has really grown tremendously this year. And just for context, it's fall 2024. So we were at this thing for a bit. Of course, there were breaks in there when you needed to just take a step back and refuel, heal, rest,
Hmm.
whatever you needed to do. So I hope that that also gives people, a little umph knowing that other people have been battling with this and she had been doing this even prior, right? Like you said, since 2021. But what is delayed is not denied. And so here we are. So when you look back, what was the hardest thing you had to overcome?
Whew. Mm. Again, so many things. And not to get like too deep here, but I feel like one of the things you and I have talked a lot about is that this is more than just a test and it teaches you so much about yourself. It brings up a lot of things
Mhm.
that you haven't healed from your past. Like honestly, this test like will challenge you in many, many ways. So I think the hardest thing was my pride. Um, this was such a humbling experience and journey. Um, And I say my pride in the sense of my ability to be able to ask for help. I think for a long time, I was like, I got this, I can do this. And recognizing that I needed help and getting that help, working with you, Erica. And I think along those lines, talking to you in conversation and in our coaching meetings, also asking for accommodations, right? That was very humbling. Like, I never had accommodations. So I think in my mind, I was like, Priscilla, like, you don't need accommodations. You've never had accommodations. Like, you're good. But clearly, I wasn't good. I was failing. So, and I think just normalizing that and it's okay. Like,
Mhm.
and I think that was a big thing for me. Like, getting that extra time was huge.
Oh
Like,
my gosh, changed
if I
everything.
didn't, oh my gosh, Erica, like, I mean, obviously we talked about this, but if I didn't have that extra time the day of the test, mm, it would have been so different. It would have been so
Um,
different. So I
I
think
don't know that we'd
getting,
be here right now.
no, we wouldn't. We
Mm-mm.
wouldn't, because you best believe that I used all of the time that they gave me. Like, I used all of it. I was like, I didn't. It's funny, in my pride, I was like, I'm not going to use all of the time. Oh no, I use until the last second. So I think, and I think, yeah. So just really grateful for that. And just given the profession that we're in, I think is sometimes ironic
Mhm.
that as psychologists that we are the first ones to not take our own advice, like the things that we tell our clients to do, to advocate for themselves, to seek out those accommodations for their child at school, and like all these things that we preach, like, are we actually practicing that? Sometimes we don't. So,
Yeah.
this was a huge hurdle that I feel like I had to get through. I think a lot of humility in that. And I will also add that I think overcoming a lot of the unhelpful ways of thinking and a lot of the beliefs, that this exam and passing this exam was what defined my worth. Like, there was a lot of that I actually was holding on to. And honestly, it wasn't until I fully let that go that I didn't feel free in this study. Even as I was studying, as I was like taking the practice exams, and I know you saw it too. Like, it just, there was like a shift in
Yeah.
me where I truly was like, even in the practice exams, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I'm doing so well. But obviously, there was a lot of inner healing that needed to happen. Like I said, not that I wanted to get all deep in this, but it's hard not to. Like, there's just so much that you just learn about yourself. And I know you and I talked a lot about this. Like, I feel like we can all write a book about what this journey is like, because it teaches you so much. So I would say those were some of the hardest things, but also one of the best things, because
Mm,
I see the Priscilla now, and I'm just so grateful for
yeah.
this. I'm grateful for this journey. Clearly, I really needed to practice in my humility, and I'm really thankful for that. And I think not just professionally, but also personally, it helped me a lot. So grateful for that.
The parallel process is real.
It really is.
And this is the thing that the world isn't talking enough about, how
Mhm.
this process makes you better on every level, professionally,
Yeah.
personally, clinically. That humility. So when a client comes to therapy and they haven't done their homework, you're going to be like, all right,
Yeah.
let's figure this out and not,
Yeah.
and just be so much more gracious and even more understanding, than we
Yes.
already
Yes.
are. So thank you
Yeah.
for really like pulling the curtain back on that because the personal growth piece is tremendous. And I think too, something I really love as a coach is watching people who have historically been challenged by exams and finding this to be a really reparative experience is really cool.
Yes.
Because people talk
Yes.
about, oh, it's the
Yes.
beast, it's this, it's that. And to see people coming to life and refinding their
Yeah.
confidence and growing through
Yeah.
this, it's just really cool. So, just a couple more questions. What would you
Yeah.
tell someone who is thinking about, signing up for this program, but they're just maybe they're not in a place where they're still struggling to admit that they need help or whatever? What would you say?
I would say to just give it a shot. Like, you're not gonna lose anything. I know, just have one meeting with Erica, and I promise you, you're not gonna look back. Like, that's all it takes. But yeah, like, even if it's your first time, like, honestly, looking back, I wish the Priscilla that was just getting started in studying for the EPPP, if I would have known about you, Dr. Erica, and your services, I wish I would have signed up like early on. Like I wish it didn't like take all these failed attempts to get to this point, but that was my journey. So if you're out there and this is the first time you're, getting ready to take the triple P, or if you've taken it multiple times, you know, Dr. Erica is your person. Like, just have a meeting with her, talk to her, and I promise you, like, it's going to be so worth it. So honestly, that's what I would say.
Yeah, oh, beautiful. And I want to be able to get people earlier too. I mean, listen, I've brought people
Yeah.
back from the program has brought people back from the depths several attempts, even more than you had. So don't be shy if you're someone who has a lot of attempts under their belt. We can still help you. But if we
Yeah.
can get to people sooner, why not? Right?
Yes, 100%.
Absolutely. So I also, before I get to my final fun question, I wanted to also let the audience know that as my program continues to grow and I learn as a coach, we now have free Q&A sessions that people can pop into to learn more about the program. You don't have to spend a dime. You can come learn about it, ask all your questions, see how it all works, and then you can make a decision before you ever do anything. So, just trying to find ways to further support people because it isn't easy to ask for help. So we want to make it as easy as possible for people to take that brave step. So this brings me to the end. Um, now that you are free from the EPPP, what is something you are excited about both personally and professionally?
Okay, I'll start with the professional, and then I'll go into the personal. Honestly, I'm just excited that as a licensed clinical psychologist, which, saying that, just this is just like a moment that I've been waiting for. Um, I'm just excited for just the the many professional opportunities that I know will open up just because you're licensed. I'm excited to just think big, just in terms of my career and my profession. Like, I don't know what God has in store for me, but I'm just excited to start to dream big and to see where my professional trajectory will take me, given that I'm licensed. So I'm just excited to see what will happen in that. Um, in terms of so in it personally, honestly, it's been so nice. Like, it's been so nice to not have to wake up super early to study and to just, it's like the little things, like not having to wake up early and study, ending a long work day and being able to hang out with my fiance, with my friends, go on a walk, not have to worry about studying. So I've noticed that I've been very much appreciating the little things now that I'm done, just like living life, just like
Oh
getting
man,
to
it's
be.
amazing.
Like
Yeah.
that is huge. That is huge. Like just getting to be and just I'm embracing this peace of mind now that this like dark cloud is no longer hovering over me. Um, another big thing is that I am super excited to fully dive into wedding planning. Obviously, you know this, Dr. Erica, but I got engaged this year, and wedding planning has just been very slow, just given that this was a priority, and my fiance was so supportive, and I really had to focus on this, get this done. But I'm so excited to go look at dresses and just do all the things that come with wedding planning. So I'm just so excited to really dive into that without having to think about the EPPP. So really excited about that.
I'm excited for you. Really, I
Yeah.
just wish you nothing but tons of joy and fulfillment and freedom.
Thank you. Thank you, Erica.